This next video is going to go over the problems dealing with solving, writing, or graphing systems of linear equations. 35. Solve this system by using substitution expressed as an ordered pair. Now, one thing to note, on a multiple choice test, even if they tell you to solve by substitution, you can really solve however you want because you're just circling the answer. Now, if they're grading the work, if it was open-ended and they said solve by substitution, you would have to do it. However, I do agree that substitution is a good method here. Take the second equation and let's solve it for x. The reason I chose the second equation is because x already doesn't have a coefficient or has a leading coefficient of 1. So all I would have to do to get x by itself is I would have to add 2y to both sides. So x is equal to, these are not like terms, so I'm just going to write them together. I'm going to put the plus 2y first just because it's a positive and we normally put the variable first, and then I'm going to put the minus 12 after. Okay? Now take what x equals. Take this. X is equal to this whole thing. You're going to put that into the second equation. So my second equation is 4x minus 4y equals negative 16. So actually it's the first equation here, but put it into whatever equation you didn't use. So this is going to go right in for what x is. You're going to replace x with 2y minus 12. So we would have 4 times, you got to put that whole thing in for x. So you need parentheses there, 2y minus 12, then minus the 4y equals negative 16. So in solving a system by substitution, you isolate one variable, then you take what that variable is equal to and you put it into the other equation. Now we have one equation with the same variable, so we can solve this. Distribute first. You're going to have 8y minus 48 minus 4y equals negative 16. Keep going. We have an 8y and a minus 4y on the same side, so let's combine like terms. We have 4y, because 8 minus 4 is 4, and then they are y's, minus 48 equals negative 16. I'm going to pull this up higher so I can keep working. So I have 4y minus 48 equals negative 16. To solve for y, I undo PEMDAS, so I add 48 to both sides first. Now I have a 4y equals, watch the signs here, and you can use your calculator on the test, but a positive 48 take away 16 is going to give me a positive 32. And then divide by 4 to find what y equals. Y equals 8. Now remember, that's only one variable. We need to find an ordered pair. We need to find x and y that works for the system. So now I'm going to go back to my x equation. I had x minus 2y equals negative 12. I'm going back to this equation right here, the first one that I started with. I'm going to put in 8 for y. So you substitute in, once you solve for one of the variables, you substitute that number in for that variable. So 2 times 8 equals negative 12. Now my recommendation with substitution is always use parentheses. Sometimes you need them, sometimes you don't. But if you always use them, then you won't make a mistake on that. Negative 2 times 8 is a negative 16 or a minus 16 equals negative 12. Then we add 16 to both sides and we're left with x equals 4. So my ordered pair, put your two answers together. X equals 4, y equals 8. My ordered pair is 4, comma 8. It always goes x and then y, just like the order in the alphabet. So 4, 8 is your solution. Your answer is D. Now remember, with systems, you can always check your answer. We could plug that ordered pair into both of the original ones and check that it works. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 8 is 32. 16 minus 32 gives me negative 16. That works. 4 minus 2 times 8. 2 times 8 is 16. 4 minus 16, does that give me negative 12? That works as well. So you can check your solutions. If you don't remember how to solve the system, you could plug each ordered pair into both equations and find the one that works. It's not the quickest method, but it is an option if you get stuck. Okay, so you can substitute. Perfect. Number 36. Janice is going on vacation and needs to leave her dog at a kennel. Guyan's kennel charges $15 per day plus $20 for a processing fee. The Pup Palace kennel charges $12 per day and has a $35 processing fee. After how many days is the Pup Palace kennel cheaper than the Guyan's kennel? So we want to know which one's, after how many days is one cheaper than the other. Let's think about this. After how many days is the Pup Palace cheaper? What inequality symbol would that be? The Guyan's kennel. So I basically want to know when the Pup Palace is less than the Guyan's kennel. So when P is less than N. Let's write an equation for each kennel. Okay, so the Pup Palace, I'm going to represent that by P. What's the cost of that one? Pup Palace, let's go through the words here. Pup Palace charges $12 per day and has a $35 processing fee. So Pup Palace equals $12 for each day, so 12 times the number of days, plus a $35 processing fee. That $35 is standalone. It only happens once, so I'm gonna have my D stands for the number of days. Defining your variable will help you. So Pup Palace is $12 per day plus $35 total for a processing fee. What about the other one then? The other one I'll use N to represent this, is $15 per day plus a $20 processing fee. So $15 for each day plus a $20 processing fee. Same thing, D stands for the number of days. All I'm going to do then is take these two expressions and put them in over here and solve to see how many days it'll take for Pup Palace to be cheaper than Guyan's kennel. So Pup Palace is 12D plus 35. I'm going to put that in over here. 12D plus 35. I want to know when that will be less than or cheaper than 15D plus 20. So let's solve this. Get your variables together on the same side of the equation. I always take mine to where there's more. So I'm going to keep the 15D over here, and I'm going to get this 12D over there with it. I would subtract 12D from both sides. They cancel on the left. I'm left with 35 is less than 15D minus 12D is a 3D. Plus 20. Perfect. So now I know how to solve this inequality. Keep going. Subtract 20 from both sides to isolate your D. You're going to have 15 is less than 3D. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. D is greater than 5 or 5 is less than D. So I'm going to turn that around. Let's think about this. I'm going to just write it starting here going this way. So I'm going to put the D on the left, the 5 on the right. The mouth is open towards the D, so I'm going to keep it open towards the D. It looks like I switched the order, but all I did was turn the whole thing around. Well, remember what D stands for. D stands for the number of days. So the number of days has to be more than 5. That's going to be your answer. Now let's find which one says that. The Pup Palace kennel is always cheaper? No. The Pup Palace kennel is never cheaper? No. The Pup Palace kennel is cheaper than Guyan's kennel after 15 days, or the Pup Palace kennel is cheaper than Guyan's kennel after 5 days. There's our answer for more than 5 days. Now, if you didn't set up a system here and if you didn't have the inequality to solve, you could also make a table. You could make a table, guys, of how many days and how much it costs at each one. So the number of days could be here. I could have Pup Palace here, and I could have the other one, the Guyan's kennel, there. So after 1 day, how much they cost. After 2 days, how much they cost. After 3 days, after 4, and so on. Again, this is a more timely way to go about the problem, but it will work for you. So you could figure it out using these. Pup Palace after 1 day would be 1 times 12 plus 35 or $47. The other one would be 1 times 15 plus 20, which would be $35. So initially, the pup palace is more, but as we go on, we're going to see that it gets less, okay? So you could keep going with that table and find where it starts to become cheaper. Either way. 37, at a local pet store, zebrafish cost $2.10 each, and neon tetras cost $1.85 each. If Marcia bought 13 fish for a total cost of $25.80, not including tax, how many types of fish did she buy? So again, we're talking about two different things here. We're going to set up an equation. N is going to stand for my neon tetras, and Z is going to stand for my zebrafish. Okay, let's go through this and highlight some things that help us. Zebrafish cost $2.10 each. Neon tetras cost $1.85 each. And total, she bought 13 fish. In total, it cost, oh, these are all dealing with cost. I'm going to highlight this in yellow too. Total, it cost $25.80. How many did she buy of each? Okay, so let's take this green part. The fact that she bought 13 fish. What kind of fish did she buy, guys? She bought neon tetras and zebrafish. Neon plus zebra for a total of 13 fish. One equation will just represent the number of fish that she bought, which means the other equation is going to be all the highlighted information in yellow, which all deal with cost. So let's think about it. You know, if you buy one tetra, how much would it cost you? $1.85. If you buy 2 tetra, how much would it cost you? Well, 2 times $1.85. You buy 3 times $1.85. So my second equation dealing with cost is going to be the cost of each fish times the number of fish you buy. $1.85 for each tetra plus $2.10 for each zebra gives me a total cost of $25.80. When you write these equations, you want to make sure one deals with just the cost and the other one deals with the numbers. Now you can solve this system however you like. You can do substitution or elimination. I'm going to do substitution. So I'm going to take this first equation and solve it for one of the variables. Doesn't matter which one you solve for. I'm going to solve it for n. So I would subtract z from both sides and get that n equals 13 minus z. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it into my second equation where there's an n. So I'm just going to pull this over, but I'm going to substitute in for n. So I would have $1.85 multiplied. Anytime you substitute, I always use parentheses. Replace n with what n equals, which is 13 minus z. And then solve, because now you have one variable. Once you solve this, you're going to have to solve for the other variable as well. So distribute first. You're going to have 2405 minus 185z plus 210z equals 2580. Combine your like terms. These are both z terms, so I'm going to have 2405 plus, combining these will give me 0.25z equals 2580. Keep going. Now subtract 2405 to get that variable by itself. So we're combining like terms and we're isolating the variable as we do this. We get $1.75 here, divide by 0.25, and we can see that z equals 7. Now to find n, just put 7 in right here. What plus 7 equals 13? 13 minus 7 is going to give me 6, so she bought 6 neon tetras and 7 zebrafish. You can always check your answer by plugging these into the equations once you have them written. Correct answer there is A.